want to know how all this began. This wedding, this plan to spend a lifetime together. I often wonder how big things like this begin. You know how it is. You're 21 or 22 and you make some decisions and whoosh, you're 70, you've been a lawyer for 50 years, and that white-haired lady at your side has eaten over 50,000 meals with you. How do such things begin? George and Emily are going to show you now the conversation they had when they first knew that they were meant for one another. But before they do it, I want you to remember what it was like to have been very young, and particularly the days when you were first in love, when you were like a person sleepwalking and you didn't quite know what street you were in, and you didn't quite hear everything that was said to you. You're just a little bit crazy. Will you remember that, please? George has just been elected president of the junior class and he'll be president of the senior class all next year. Emily has just been elected secretary and treasurer. Yep, they're coming down Main Street now.
I can't, Louise. I've got to go home. Goodbye. Oh, Ernestine, can you come over tonight and do Latin? Isn't that Cicero the worst thing? Tell your mother you have to. Goodbye. Goodbye, Helen. Goodbye, Fred.
Can I carry your books home for you, Emily?
Why, thank you. It isn't far.
Excuse me a minute, Emily. Say, Bob! If I'm a little late, start practice anyway. And give Herb some long high ones.
Goodbye, Lizzie.
Goodbye, Lizzie. I'm awfully glad you were elected too, Emily.
Thank you.
Emily, why are you mad at me?
I'm not mad at you.
You've been treating me so funny lately.
Well, since you asked, George, I might as well go out and say it. Goodbye, Miss Corcoran.
Goodbye, Miss Corcoran. What is it?
Well, I don't like the whole change that's come over you in the last year. I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings, and shame the devil.
A change? What do you mean?
Well, up to a year ago, I used to like you a lot, and I used to watch you as you did everything, because we'd been friends for so long. And then you began spending all your time at baseball, and you didn't stop to talk to anybody anymore. Not even your own family you didn't. And George, it's a fact. You've gotten awful conceited and stuck up. And all the girls say so. They may not say it to your face, but that's what they say about you behind your back. And it hurts me to hear them say it. But I've got to agree with them a little. I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings, but I can't be sorry I said it.
I'm glad you said it, Emily. I never thought such a thing was happening to me. I guess it's hard for a fella to not have faults creep into his character.
I always expect a man to be perfect, and I think he should be.
I don't think it's possible to be perfect, Emily.
Well, my father is. And as far as I can see, your father is. There's no reason on earth why you shouldn't be too.
Well, I feel it's the other way around. That men aren't naturally good at things, but girls are.
Well, you might as well say it right now. I'm not perfect. It's not as easy for a girl to be perfect as a man, because we girls are more nervous. Now I'm sorry I said all that about you. I don't know what made me say it.
Emily.
Now I can see it's not the truth at all, and it isn't important anyway.
Emily, would you like an ice cream soda or something before you go home?
Well, thank you, I would.
Hello, Stu. How are you? Good afternoon, Miss Slocum.
Hello, George. Hello, Emily. What do you have? Why, Emily Webb, what have you been crying about?
She just got an awful scare, Miss Morgan. She almost got run over by that hardware store wagon. Everybody says that Tom Huckins drives like a crazy man.
Well, now, you take a drink of water, Emily. You look all shook up. I tell you, you have to look both ways before crossing Main Street these days. Gets worse every year. What do you have?
I'll have a strawberry frosting. Thank you, Mrs. Morgan.
No, Emily, have an ice cream soda with me. 2 strawberry ice cream sodas, Miss Morgan.
2 strawberry ice cream sodas? Yes, sir, yes, sir. There are 125 horses in Grover's Corners this minute I'm talking to you. State inspector was in here yesterday, and now they're bringing in these automobiles. Best thing to do is just stay at home. Why, I can remember when a dog could go to sleep all day in the middle of Main Street and nothing would come along to disturb him. There they are. Enjoy them.
We're celebrating our election. And do you know what else I'm celebrating?
No.
I'm celebrating because I've got a friend who tells me things they ought to be told me.
Oh, George, please don't think of that. I don't know what made me say it. It's not true.
No, Emily, you stick to it. I'm glad you spoke to me the way you did earlier. But you'll see, I'm going to change so quick, you bet I'm going to change. And Emily, I want to ask you a favor.
What?
Emily, if I do go away to State Agriculture College next year, will you write me a letter every once in a while?
I certainly will. I certainly will, George. It certainly seems like being away 3 years, you'd get out of touch with things. Maybe letters from Grover's Corners wouldn't be so interesting after a while.
There wouldn't be a day in this town when I wouldn't want to know everything that's happening here.
Well, I'll try to make my letters interesting.
You know, Emily, whenever I meet a farmer and ask him if he thinks it's important to go to state agriculture school, some of them say it's a waste of time. And Uncle Luke's getting old. He's about ready for me to start taking over his farm tomorrow if I could.
My.
And being gone all that time and meeting other people, Emily, I feel you're as good as a friend as I've got. I don't need to go and meet people in other towns.
Well, George, maybe it's important for you to go learn all about that cattle and soil and things. Of course, I don't know.
Emily, I'm going to make up my mind right now. I won't go. I'll tell Pa about it tonight.
George, I don't see why you have to decide right now. It's a whole year away.
Emily, I'm glad you spoke to me the way you did earlier, about the fault in my character. When you said for a year I wasn't noticing people, you, for instance, why, you said you were watching me as I did everything. Well, I was doing the same about you. Why, sure, I thought about you as one of the chief people I thought about. I always was making sure you were sitting on the bleachers and who you were with. And for 3 days now, I've been trying to walk with you, but something's always got in the way.
Life's awful funny, George. How could I have known that? Why, I thought...
Emily, I'm going to tell you why I'm not going to agriculture school. I feel that once you've met a person who you're very fond of, and who's fond of you too, and likes you enough to be interested in your character, well, I feel that's just as important as college is, and even more so. That's what I think.
I think it's awfully important, too.
Emily, if I do improve and make a big change, would you be?
I am now. I always have been.
Oh, so I guess this is an important conversation we've been having.
Yes. Yes.
Wait just a minute and I'll walk you home. Mrs. Morgan? Mrs. Morgan, I'll have to go home and get you the money to pay for this. It'll only take me a minute.
George Gibbs, do you mean to tell me?
Yes, but I had reasons, Miss Morgan. Look, here's my gold watch to keep until I come back with the money.
That's all right. Keep your watch. I'll trust you.
I'll be back in 5 minutes.
I'll trust you 10 years, George Gibbs. Not a day over.
I'm ready.
It's time to get on with the wedding. There are a lot of things to be said about a wedding. There are a lot of thoughts that go on during a wedding. For a while now, the play gets pretty serious. Like Mrs. Gibbs said a few minutes ago, people were made to live 2 by 2. Every child born into this world is nature's attempt to make a perfect human being. Well, we've seen nature pushing and contriving for some time now. We all know that nature's interested in quantity, but I think she's interested in quality too.
Hallelujah.
And don't forget all the other witnesses at this wedding, the ancestors, millions of them. And most of them set out to live 2 by 2 also. Millions of them. Well, that's my sermon. It's not very long anyway.
Oh, I don't know why on earth I should be crying. I suppose there's nothing to cry about. Oh, I've got to say it. You know there's something downright cruel about sending our daughters into marriage this way. Oh, I hope some of her girlfriends told her a thing or two. I know it's cruel, but I couldn't bring myself to say anything. Oh, I went into it blind as a bat myself. Oh, here they come. Oh.
George, what's the matter? Ma, I don't want to grow old. Why is everybody pushing me?
Why, George, you wanted it.
No, Ma, listen to me.
No, George. You're a man now.
Listen, Ma, for the last time I ask you. Please.
No, George. Why, George, I'm ashamed of you.
Cheer up, Ma. I'm getting married. Ma, you save Thursday nights. Emily and I are coming over Thursday nights. You'll see. Ma, what are you crying for? Come on, we've got to get ready for this.
I've never felt so alone in my whole life. And George over there, looking so... I hate him! I wish I were dead! Papa!
Emily, now just calm down.
I don't want to get married.
But just stop and think a minute.
But Papa, why can't I stay for a while just as I am?
You're just nervous.
But Papa, don't you remember what you used to say? All the time you used to say that I was your girl.
Yes, but today is a different day. George, will you come over here a minute? George, I'm giving away my daughter. Do you think you can take care of her?
I want to, Mr. Webb. I want to try. Emily, I'll do my best. I love you, Emily. I need you.
Well, if you love me, help me. All I want is for someone to love me.
I will, Emily. Emily, I'll try.
Come, they're waiting for us.
Your wedded wife.
Perfectly lovely wedding. Loveliest wedding I ever saw. Oh, I do love a good wedding. Don't you? Doesn't she make a lovely bride?
I do. Now do you, Emily, take this man, George, to be your wedded husband.
Don't you know what? I've seen such a lovely wedding. But I always cry. I don't know why it is, but I always cry. Oh, I just like to see young people happy, don't you? Oh, I think it's lovely.
I've married over 200 couples in my day. Do I believe in it? I don't know.
Aren't they a lovely couple? Oh, I've never been to such a nice wedding. I'm sure they'll be happy.
9 years have gone by, friends. Summer, 1913. Gradual changes in Grover's Corners. Horses are getting rarer. Everybody locks their house doors now at night. This is certainly an important part of Grover's Corners. It's on a hilltop, a windy hilltop. Lots of sky, lots of cloud. Often lots of sun and moon and stars. You come up here on a fine afternoon and you can see range on range of hills. Awful blue they are. There, quite a ways down, is Grover's Corners. Yes, beautiful spot up here. Mountain laurel and lilacs. I often wonder why people like to be buried in Woodlawn in Brooklyn when they might pass the same time up here in New Hampshire. Well, over here are the old stones, say 1670 to 1680. Over here are some Civil War veterans. New Hampshire boys had a notion that the Union ought to be kept together. All they knew was the United States of America, and they went and died about it. This here is the new part of the cemetery. Here's your friend, Mrs. Gibbs, and Mrs. Stimson. Oh, and let me see, Mrs. Soames, who enjoyed the wedding so. You remember. Oh, and a lot of others. Oh, and Editor Webb's boy, Wallace, whose appendix burst on a Boy Scout trip to Crawford Notch. People just wild with grief who brought their relatives up here. We're all glad they're in a beautiful place, and we're coming up here ourselves one day. Now, there are some things we all know, but we don't take it out and look at it very often. We all know that something is eternal. Everybody knows in their bones that there's something eternal about every human being. Now, you know as well as I do that the dead don't stay interested in us living people for very long. Gradually, they lose hold of the earth and the ambitions they've had, the pleasures they've had, and the things they've suffered, and the people they love. They get weaned away from the earth. That's the way I put it. Weaned away. And they stay here, while the earth part of them burns away, burns out, and they slowly get indifferent to what's going on. They're waiting. They're waiting for something that they feel is coming, something important and great. Well, there are some living people. That's Mrs. Stoddard, our undertaker, supervising a new made grave. And there's a Grover's Corners girl that left town to go out west.
Good afternoon, Miss Stoddard.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Now let me see here. Do I know you?
I'm Grace Gregg.
Gracious sakes alive. Of all people, I should have known you'd show up for the funeral. You've been away for a long time, Grace.
Yes, over 12 years. I'm in business out in Buffalo now, Miss Stoddard. I was in the East when I got the news of my cousin's death, so I thought I'd combine some things to go see the old home. You look well?
Yes. Can't complain. Very sad our journey today, Grace.
Yes.
Yes. I always say I hate to supervise it when a young person is taken. They'll be here any minute now. I had to come here early today. My son's supervising at the home.
Old Farmer McCartney. I used to do chores for him after school.
Yes, we brought Farmer McCarty here a few number of years ago.
Why, this is my Aunt Julia. I've forgotten that she...
Yes, Doc Gibbs lost his wife 2-3 years ago. About this time too. And today's another pretty bad blow for him.
Do they choose their verses much, Miss Stoddard?
No, not usually. Most of the bereaved pick a verse.
That doesn't sound like me, Aunt Julia. There aren't many of those Hershey sisters left anymore. Let me see. Where is... I want to see where my father's and mother's.
Over there with the Craigs, Avenue F.
Mr. Stimson. He was an organist at the church, wasn't he? Drank a lot, we used to say.
Nobody was supposed to know about it. He'd seen a peck of trouble. Took his own life, you know.
Oh, did he?
Hung himself in the attic. They tried to hush it up, but it got around, of course. Chose his own epitaph. It ain't a verse exactly.
Just some notes of music. What is it?
Oh, I wouldn't know. It was wrote up in the Boston papers at the time.
Miss Stoddard, what did she die of?
Who?
My cousin Emily.
Oh, didn't you know? Had some trouble bringing a baby into the world. Well, her second, though. She has a little boy, about 4 years old.
The grave's gonna be over there?
Yes, there ain't much more room among the Gibbses over here, so they're creating a whole new Gibbs section over by Avenue B. You'll excuse me now. I see they're coming.
Who is it, Julia? My daughter-in-law, Emily Webb.
Well, I declare, the road up here must have been awful muddy. What did she die of, Julia?
In childbirth.
Childbirth? I'd forgotten all about that. My, wasn't life awful? And wonderful.
Wonderful, was it?
I remember Emily's wedding. Wasn't it a lovely wedding? Emily was one of the brightest girls ever graduated from high school. I called on them at their new farm just before I died. Perfectly beautiful farm.
Why, it's on the same road we lived on.
Yep, right smart farm.
I always liked that hymn. I was hoping you'd sing a hymn.
Hello.
Hello, Emily.
Hello, Miss Gibbs.
Hello, Mother Gibbs.
Emily?
Hello. It's raining.
Yes, they'll be gone soon, dear. Just rest yourself.
It seems thousands and thousands of years since that was my favorite hymn. Oh, I wish I'd been here a long time. I don't like being new here. How do you do, Mrs. Stimson?
How do you do, Emily?
Mother Gibbs, George and I have made that farm into just the best place you ever saw. We thought of you all the time. We bought it out of the money you left us.
I did?
Why, don't you remember, Mother Gibbs? The legacy you left us? Why, it was over $350.
Yes, Emily.
It's fine. It's a lovely farm, but it won't be the same to George without me. Live people don't understand, do they?
No, dear, not very much.
They're sort of shut up in little boxes, aren't they? I feel as though I knew them last 1,000 years ago. My boy is spending the day at Mr. Carter's. Yes, he loves it there. We have a Ford too, Mother Gibbs. I don't drive, though. Mother Gibbs, when does this feeling go away? Of being one of them? How long does it...
Shh, dear, just wait and be patient.
I know. Look, they're finished. They're going. Look, Father Gibbs is bringing some of my flowers to you. He looks just like George, doesn't he? I never realized how troubled and how in the dark live persons are. Look at him. I loved him so. From morning till night. That's all they are. Troubled.
A little colder than it was.
Yes, the rain's cooled off a little.
Those northeast winds always seem to do the same thing, don't they?
If it isn't rain, it's a 3-day blow.
But Mother Gibbs, one can go back there again. Into living, I feel it. I know it. For a moment I was there, and my baby was on my lap as plain as day.
Yes, of course you can.
I can go back there and live all those days again?
All I can say is, Emily, don't.
Some have tried, but they soon come back here.
Emily, don't. It's not what you think it'd be.
Emily, don't do it.
I won't live it over a sad day. I'll choose a happy day. I'll choose the day I first knew I loved George.
You not only live it, but you watch yourself living it.
Yes?
And as you watch it, you see the thing that they, down there, never know. You see the future. You know what's going to happen afterwards.
When you've been here longer, you'll understand that our lives here is to forget all that and think of what's ahead and plan for what's ahead. When you've been here longer, you'll understand.
But Mother Gibbs, how can I ever forget that life? It's all I know. It's all I had.
Oh, Emily, it isn't wise. Really, it isn't.
I'll choose a happy day anyway.
At least choose an unimportant day. Choose the least important day of your life. It will be important enough.
Then it can't be since I was married, or since the baby was born. I can choose a birthday at least. Can't I? I choose my 12th birthday.
All right, a Tuesday. You remember it had been snowing for several days and they'd just begun clearing the roads. Do you want any special time of day?
Oh, I want the whole day.
All right. We'll begin at dawn. The roads are clearing up. Oh, the sun's coming up now.
Look, there's Main Street. And there's Mrs. Morgan's drugstore, before she changed it. And there's the livery stable.
Yes, it's 1899. This is 14 years ago.
Oh, that's the town I knew as a little girl. And look, there's the old white fence that used to be around our house. Oh, I've forgotten that. I love it so. Are they inside?
Yes, your mother will be coming downstairs in a minute to make breakfast.
There's Howie Newsom. There's our policeman. But he's dead. He died.
Whoa, Bessie. Morning, Bill. Good morning, Howie. You're up early. Party darn near froze to death. Got drunk lad in the snowdrift. Thought he was dead when I shook him.
Hi, there's Joe Crowell.
Morning, Mr. Warren. Morning, Howie.
Children, time to get up. How young Mama looks. I didn't know Mama was ever that young.
Morning, Mr. Newsom. It's cold. Tap a low by my barn, Miss Webb. You keep yourself warm.
Mama, I can't find my blue hair ribbon anywhere.
Just open your eyes, dear. I laid it out special for you on the drawer. If it was a snake, it'd bite you.
Yes. Yes.
Good morning, Bill. Morning, Mr. Webb. You're up early. Yup. Just come back from my old college. Been in any trouble here? Well, fella darn near froze to death. We must get it in the paper. 'Twa'n't much.
Papa.
Good morning, Mother.
How was it, Charles?
Oh, fine, I guess.
Emily. Charles, don't forget, it's Emily's birthday.
Oh, I remembered. I got her something. Where's my girl? Where's my birthday girl?
I can't. They're so young and beautiful. Why did they ever have to get old? Look at them. Mama, I'm here. I love you all. Everything. I can't look at everything hard enough. Good morning, Mama.
Good morning. A very happy birthday and many happy returns. There are some surprises waiting for you on the kitchen table.
I can't. They're so young and beautiful. Why'd they ever have to get old? Look, Mama, I'm here. Mama, 14 years have gone by. Mama, I'm dead. Mama, I married George Gibbs. Mama, you're a grandmother. Mama, Wally's dead too. He died on a camping trip to North Conway. Don't you remember? We felt just terrible about the whole thing. But now for one moment, we're all here. Together. We're all happy. Let's look at one another.
Where's my girl? Where's my birthday girl?
I never realized. So all that was happening and we never noticed. Goodbye. Goodbye, world. Goodbye, Grover's Corners. Mama and Papa. Goodbye to clocks ticking. And food. And coffee. And new iron dresses. And hot baths. Goodbye. Sleeping. Waking up. Oh, Earth, you're too wonderful for anybody to realize you. Do any human beings ever realize life while they live it? Every minute?
No. Saints and poets, maybe. They do some.
I'm ready to go back.
Were you happy?
No. I should have listened to you. That's all human beings are. Just blind people.
Look, it's clearing up. The stars are coming out.
Oh, Mrs. Stimson, I should have listened to them.
Yes. Now you know. Now you know. That's what it was like to be alive. To spend and waste time as though you had a million years. Now you know.
Carrie Stimson, that ain't the whole truth and you know it. I mean, look at that star. I forget its name. The star's a mighty good company.
Yes, yes, 'tis.
Here's one of them coming.
That's funny.
Tain't no time for one of them to be here.
Goodness sakes.
Mother Gibbs, it's George.
Shh, dear, just wait and be patient.
It's George.
Goodness, that ain't no way to behave.
He ought to be home.
Mother Gibbs, live people don't understand, do they?
No, dear, not very much.
Most everybody's asleep in Grover's Corners. It's clearing up. Stars are doing their little crisscross journeys in the sky. Scholars haven't settled the matter yet, but they seem to think there are no living beings up there. Just chalk. Or fire. Only this one is straining away all the time to make something of itself. The strain's so bad that every 16 hours, everybody lies down and gets a rest. 11 o'clock in Grover's Corners. You get a good rest too. Good night.